Goon Night Year 2 development update. Spoiler alert, I did not get much done this year at all due to unconventional means of acquiring money in the real world. I have had significantly less time to work on the game this year. Where last year, 2024, I spent about 560 hours working on the game. This year, only about 160, so 70% less time. Last year, averaging about 10 to 11 hours a week. This year, only 3. Very sad. Um, Based on my expectation, the time I think it'll take to get to a demo-ready state will be 5,300 hours, which puts me at about 14% of the way through. Now, I may be very wrong, and I could actually just be 1%, because I don't know what it takes to make a game. But based on the current rate of 1 hour a day, I'm expected to complete this in, 13 years? But if I worked full time, it would be about 2 years, so somewhere in the middle. And to show the timeline of how much I've been working on the game, this was all the way back when I started in 2024. Working on it a pretty fair bit, about every week. But it only goes downhill starting in 2025. And in 2024, a new game would come out, new WoW expansion, PoE League. I would take a break from the game, but I always come back. And then 2025 hit, and just had a lot less time working on the game. And every now and then, I'd have a weekend where I'd stay up late and work on it, but significantly less time than 2024. But rather depressing, but all good. So at the start of the year, I planned out some of the buildings I was going to add to the game, and I started making just placeholder buildings. And these were some of the ones I made. So I broke it out to 5 tiers. It's very similar to like any game, like Clash of Clans. So you have your main building, and in order to get to the next tier, you have to upgrade that main building, like your town hall. And then every building has its own upgrade path. So, you start out with a stick turret, it upgrades into a wood shooter, then a log shooter, and so on. I'm not going to go into detail. I'll show some of the ones I've built placeholders for, just to kind of show you what I've been doing. So let's get into it. So again, I haven't made much progress at all. But stick shooter, placeholder asset, then it was like the wood shooter, then the log shooter. So stone shooter, and then I just very creatively recolored them. This is the fire, lightning, and ice. And then for the storage, you have the level 1, 2, 3. I made farms, so small, medium, large, extra large. I'll show what these do in a bit. This is like the Goon tent, the player tent. This is like the medical tent, barter's tent, food tent. So the tier 1-ish, 2-ish will be more tent-like technologies, and then it upgrades into a little house. So this is the level 2, and then the level 3. So using the Goon as an example, you have one of these buildings and it could sleep 1 Goon, so you can have 1 Goon working with you. This upgraded here, now it has 2, 6, and so on. That was kind of the idea there. And then these don't do anything. And for the main building, I just made a log cabin, called it a day, and then a brick cabin, and then the metal cabin, just to have a placeholder showing that it is upgraded. It looks different, it behaves differently. What else? I tried making some walls. I'm not sure what I want to do here. where if you have like a level 1 stick wall, where you can place turrets on the top here, or if it should be taller like this where you can walk underneath. I haven't really decided, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. You just have a stick, stone, metal. And let's show some of these changes. So I made it so you can enemies will actually hit the buildings. So if I spawn in here, and it's very scuffed right now, but it's good enough. So similar to the goons, they'll pick a spot and claim it, and then when they break through, they'll just start swarming around the buildings and destroying them. And the idea is you have your main building, which would be one of these, and whenever that gets destroyed during the night is when you lose the night level, and you wake up and your base will just rebuild itself. So it turns into rubble, but it just rebuilds itself. Let's close that, and I'm going to show some other things I've been working on. So I'm going to set all the enemies to not attack. So I've been working on abilities like your player skills, and I haven't gotten very far, but one of the ones I made is like a slash ability. Now in this case it's just a debug circle. There's no animation or anything about it, just frontal cone AoE. And then I made a throw weapon projectile that, for the sake of the demo, I gave it infinite bouncing, so it just changed from enemies to enemy. And I gave it honing, so it'll come around, and then it'll bounce off buildings, it'll bounce off environment, and then it will seek out new targets when it gets close. And then it'll just go on forever. But all the projectiles in the game are going to have attributes like the amount of enemies they pierce, if they bounce, if they're homing, if they split, or if they return. So I've been working on that logic, so I wanted to show off that. Let's show the farm. The farm's pretty cool. I like it. So the idea here is you have seeds, and as you can expect, the potato seed plants a potato plant, which gives you potatoes. But what's interesting about it is these, you don't just farm it, you don't just harvest it. What's going to happen is it's going to, when the plants finish growing in like 5 seconds here, it's going to spawn a hole, and the idea is it would suck in all the plants, and then you walk in this hole, and it's an arena where all of those plants turn into enemies, plant enemies. So you have like corn enemies, pepper enemies, like all of those. And then when you kill them, you get the loot. So since it's a combat focused game, everything revolves around combat. And then this would have its own progression system, where you can unlock talents into, say, like every seed planted around a potato seed has +1 level, or something like that. Or if you plant corn in a pentagon, it summons an evil corn enemy boss. So it'll be like the shafting, where it has its own progression system, its own way to get loot, and you get resources out of it. And then I also added trade skills, which I'll show later, but basically similar to any game that has trade skills, you level them up by doing the various thing, and then they'll work together. So say you have your cooking skill, where you use these plants, and you have an alchemy skill, and you can combine your alchemy and logging skills to make like wood plants, so resource crops, um, using alchemy. So, I don't know, a little fun thing. For shafting, I haven't changed this at all. I haven't touched it since I made it. So it's still the same. You just press Q to break a block. What I want to do is make it so you use your abilities to break the blocks. But the problem with that is you're going to have a bunch of, big AoE abilities. So if I just used that here, and there's going to be enemies down here, it would just make like a giant hole. And it would be really annoying to work with. So what I'm thinking instead is have a flat instanced floor. So you can't dig down and you can't dig up. So it's just like a 4-high arena, kind of like the farm arena, where you still break blocks using your abilities, and there's a big room of enemies somewhere on that floor, and when you kill all those enemies, you can progress down to the next level, which would then like unload the room above, load the new room, and that would be your progression system. So it's like an infinite tower, infinite depth, like any other game. But haven't touched it. Let's show the quest. So on the right, I actually made quests. And when you complete them, you get a little reward, and they have prerequisites. So when you have to complete one quest to get to the next. So let's spawn some better loot. So I get 10 wood, and then you see I get a little XP burst from completing the quest. And the XP is different colors based on the trade skill. So it's kind of a brownish for the logging. And then I come over here to the stone, and it's gray. And I get a burst of XP for completing that quest. The next quest is craft a weapon. So there's also crafting XP. So that's the pink orb. And it's based on what you craft. So if I craft a weapon, I get like weapon smithing. If I craft armor, I get armor smithing. And I come over here to trade skills, and I can see those here. And each of them would have little bonus stats you get from leveling them up. And they'll have their own intrinsic benefits. So for example, weapon smithing, the higher level that is, whenever you craft weapons, they spawn with a higher default item level, or they can roll better stats, something like that. The next quest is build a campfire. So in the buildings, now there are prerequisites, so I have to build the campfire first. And I can select the level. They're just going to start on level 1. And we're going to make a stick turret to defend us because the night's coming. And let's just rest until night. Now the stick turret's broken. It's just going to kill everything, so we're not going to have to worry about it. And the night's pretty easy. I also added the ability to upgrade buildings, just visually for now. But say we upgrade our campfire, which is our main house, to the level 2, which is more of a tent. And I can upgrade our stick turret to I don't remember what I called it, a wood shooter or something. Does more damage, shoots faster, something like that. And then I could upgrade it again to that log shooter we saw. And I added some more enemies. I just reused the crop enemies, so this stuff is all just crops. I don't know how I want to do the looting, because having to run over everything is going to be super annoying every night. So I think I'll just make it automatic loot, or some sort of easy mechanism like your goon will go out and loot or something. I added bunny hopping, more or less for fun, for me while I do my development. I thought it was a fun little challenge and something I enjoy doing, so I added bunny hopping. We'll just let this play out. Quests. I updated this a little bit. It's still not clean. It shows you what you get, um, and you can see your completed quest and your uncompleted quest. In this case, we don't have any. But I also wanted to make it so you don't have to have the quest available to complete it. Because I hate games where you go out and kill like 5 enemies of a certain type, and then you go to town and you pick up a quest that says go kill 5 enemies. But since you didn't have the quest, then you gotta go do it again. So I don't want it to be like that. Um, so all quests are completable and viewable at all times, is what I was going for. Your player level is the sum of all your trade skill levels. Um, so it's beneficial to do all, but you don't have to because you could just focus on what you enjoy. Crafting's all the same. Buildings. I don't think there's anything else fancy worth showing. Should be almost done with the night. I added light strength as a stat. Because I always thought it was funny how useless it was in a game like PoE. But since the game is all about light and dark, I want it to act as the aggro system in the game. So the more light strength you have, the more attracted the enemies are to you. So what that means is if you want to build a tanky build where you're the main focus, you stack light strength, and the enemies will attack you over your goons or the or your buildings. Or if you want to build a glass cannon, you would not get light strength. So the enemies don't attack you. Or you have a goon and you just load them up with light strength gear and make them really tanky, so you act as a front line. I think that's about it. Like again, I said not much, but I have been having fun. I'm still having fun, so that's what matters. The plan for next year is to, first of all, spend more time actually working on the game. Finish making all the placeholder buildings and adding a bunch of skills to make combat more interesting. And make a lot of the groundwork systems. For example, like the projectiles I made. Every single projectile in the game is going to use that code. So making things like that that'll be reusable. That's the plan for next year. So if you stick around, 2026. Otherwise, peace.